Hey everybody, it's me, Sherlock360, and I'm back with a video, and this video is kind of a preemptive video. ktboo1979 has been doing her Let's Talk series where she tells people her opinions and advice for collecting K-pop groups. And on her last video where she did her favorites, she said that she was going to be doing a SHINee video. So I'm trying to beat her to the punch. And do mine because I feel like I'm in a better position to do that video than I was in the past because I now pretty much have my collection complete. I have a lot of experience collecting SHINee. Well, not a lot, but I have at least 6 months worth of experience, maybe a little bit longer. And also just, SHINee's my bias group, so I feel like it's only right that I do my bias group. So let's get started. First, if you're going to collect SHINee, the very first question I would ask you is, what is your favorite SHINee song? I always feel like it's important to get the album that has your favorite song on it. Some people want to just get the first album, or they just want to get whatever the latest album is, and that works if your favorite song is there. But with SHINee, it's kind of important to know because SHINee has two types of albums. They have the regular album and they have the mini album. And only once has there ever been a time where the songs from the mini album ended up on the album. When Replay first came out, they came out with SHINee World, their first album right after, and it has all the songs from the Replay mini album. But other than that, the mini albums and the albums for SHINee, they don't really meet. So you do kind of want to ask yourself what's your favorite song and then get that album accordingly because it's just going to make more sense in the long run. Now let's say you don't have a favorite SHINee album, but you love SHINee's visuals. That SHINee, for you, they're just the hottest things on the planet, and you want something that's going to give you the most SHINee visuals for the money. Then you have to get this album. Sherlock is really the only album you should get if you like SHINee for their visuals. And the reason I say that is because while the other albums provide you with plenty of pictures, and they're very lovely, Sherlock gives you 6 photo books, and you get 1 photo book for every single member of the group. They're half naked most of the time. This was a great era for them. So yeah, this is definitely what I would get if you're on a limited income and you just want the most visual SHINee you can get, because this is usually about $15 most places, so it's not expensive. So this is definitely for balling on a budget. Also, Sherlock's just a really good album. Like, the lead single is really good, Alarm Clock's really good, Honesty's really good. There's not a bad song on this album, and like I said, the packaging, it is probably some of their best packaging they've done. So yeah, definitely I would go for Sherlock if I didn't have any other monies. The next thing, probably, if you don't have a favorite song for SHINee, and you are not really too worried about, like, getting the most visual stuff, but you just got into SHINee. Like, the first thing that you heard from SHINee was the Everybody album, or if you just got into SHINee because the solos came out, then I definitely recommend getting Everybody. Part of the reason why I recommend getting Everybody is, number one, the packaging is phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good. It's not the flashiest packaging, but it's just really cohesive, and also it tends to be where SHINee is headed because Everybody is the same size as Ace, which is the same size as Base, and the format's very similar. So it's kind of telling you where SHINee is headed moving forward. But also I recommend getting Everybody because for me, Everybody, if you're new to SHINee, is a really great sample of where SHINee can go as a group vocally. In some of their albums, I felt like they were too rap heavy. In this particular album, I feel like they had a good mix of rapping on songs, and then they had just straight out singing, and I just thought that it worked a lot better than maybe the Hello album. Like, cause there's some straight up just rapping songs that SHINee does, and Key and Minho are not the strongest rappers in the game, so it can be a little disconcerting, but Everybody to me is a really solid listen backwards and forwards, and I think if you're just getting into SHINee, it's probably the best gateway for you. Now, if I had to tell you what my favorite SHINee album is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Amigo, which is the repackage of SHINee World. This album is gold to me, and this album you could buy used because it doesn't come with a photo card, so this is a really great buy if you're just like scamming through eBay and you see something on sale. If you can get this for like $7, $8, you won't regret it. This is a really good buy if you're just getting started collecting. And then probably the reason why I have this out here is because to me it's so important. This album right here, 2009 Year of Us, is the album that has Ring Ding Dong. And that's really the only song that I want to mention. But the reason I have to bring this up is because for a lot of people who think of SHINee and they have like a picture of SHINee in their head, this is probably one of their classic eras visually. This was long-haired Minho. He's never had his hair as long as he did during this era. This is when Jonghyun had the tricolored hair, where it was like brown and orange and blonde, which was like a really important hairstyle for him, which it seems weird to say important hairstyles, but it really was. And then this is when Key had the asymmetrical colored bang, which was a really awesome look. So this one I definitely recommend. It's not my favorite mini album by far. Sherlock is my favorite mini album, but this is a great album if you're just getting started with SHINee and you kind of want to hit the highlights. This would be probably about my fourth purchase once I started buying albums. Now, if you want to get the most music for your money, if you're like, hey, I love everything SHINee does, but I really don't care about, visuals, I'm just really in it for the music and I have $30 to spend, then my recommendation is go for the gold, get The Misconceptions of Us. I mean, this is probably your best deal if you have about $30 to spend, because it is 2 albums plus a bonus photo book, which makes it worth it. You get this photo book here, the Misconceptions of Us photo book, and then you get both the Misconceptions of Us, or Misconceptions of Me, and the Misconceptions of You. And the track listing is exactly the same except for the addition of the bonus song, and they let you know. So it's not even out of order or anything. It's exactly the same. So definitely Misconceptions of Us, if you've got $30 to spend and you just want as much music as you can get, this is a great thing to get. If you're going for classic SHINee music, you got $15 to spend and you just really want kind of the era that took SHINee over the top, I definitely would go for Hello. This is the repackage of the Lucifer album. I would have recommended Lucifer, but to me, Hello is a really great song, and so if you have to choose, I definitely would go with the repackage. But Lucifer probably remains SHINee's biggest song, even though Sherlock and Lucifer are kind of competing. Of the songs that people know SHINee for, I feel like Ring Ding Dong, Lucifer, and Sherlock are the big songs. But Lucifer probably is the biggest, not just because of the song itself, but the dance that goes for Lucifer. Lucifer. So I definitely recommend getting this if you really like the music, but you've only got about $15 to spend. This gives you a lot of music, and it's just a really great era for SHINee, and a lot of people really love this album. I mean, it comes up on a lot of favorites for a lot of people, so definitely Hello. If you've decided you want to buy some solo stuff for SHINee, there's really only 2 solos. There's Ace and there's Bass. I bring them out here because while Bass, to me, is my favorite album out of this batch in this corner, I feel like Ace would be the one I'd recommend if you're beginning to collect SHINee, because I feel like Ace is a much more varied listen. For me, Bass has a lot of the same tones and themes throughout. Every song not necessarily sounds similar, but it kind of runs in the same vein, if you will. They're all kind of straight up R&B. Some of it's more experimental than others, but mostly R&B. Whereas Ace, I feel like you get kind of a rock sound, a jazz sound, an R&B sound, a pop sound. There's a lot of different types of music, in my opinion, that's on Ace. So I would recommend for the newbie, go ahead and get Ace. You'll be really happy with it. There's lots of nudity in it, so that helps. But yeah, I think I would get Ace before I'd get Bass. And then lastly, I want to talk about Japan, because honestly, Japanese SHINee it's a crime how expensive it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you're going to get SHINee and you want to get started in Japan, I recommend getting started the way I did not get started, and that's by buying the first 3 albums. It's just your best bet. When I first started collecting SHINee in Japan, I started with a single. I had the single for Fire, which was totally like by accident. Somebody was selling a bunch of CDs and I just got that in the batch. So I hadn't any intentions of collecting SHINee's Japanese music. But once I had that and then I saw something else that really made me excited, I started collecting it. And now, several more dollars down the drain, I have a great Japanese collection, but if I could do it all over again and start from scratch, I would definitely pick up these 3 albums because these are their only albums in Japan. They're SHINee the First, Boys Meet You, and I'm Your Boy. The reason I would pick these 3 is because these are all the regular editions. So each one of them comes with a photo card, even though I think that this gets reprinted without the photo card. But yeah, all 3 of these come with photo cards, so that's good. But also, they tend to take all of their singles that they release in Japan and put them all on the album and then add a couple of songs. So this gives you the most music for the right price, because Japanese stuff for SHINee is hella expensive. Their singles start at about $12 a piece for 2 songs. These albums tend to start at about $30 a piece, but you're getting a bunch of music. Like, you're getting the equivalent of 4 or 5 singles plus extra. So this is definitely where I would start. If you are used to SHINee in Korean and you kind of want to stick in that vein, then SHINee's The First is great because it's almost like a greatest hits album. It's got Lucifer, Amigo, Juliet, Replay, Love Like Oxygen, Hello, The SHINee World. So this is a great buy if you kind of want to stay similar to what they're doing in Korea, but you just want to kind of get your feet wet in Japan. Boys Meet You, they were experimenting with their sound in Japan. There's a few misses here, but a lot of hits. Dazzling Girl's on here, which I love Dazzling Girl, so I would recommend getting this one probably after I got this. In fact, the order I would say would be this one last, this one first, and I'm Your Boy next. By the time they did I'm Your Boy, they kind of knew what they wanted to sound like in Japan. So a lot of the sound on this album, everything matches. Whereas this sounds like a collection of singles. This sounds like an album for real. And there's a couple of songs on here that I absolutely stand for. Picasso and 365. They're the best songs on this thing, and they were made for the album. So yeah, I would pick up these 3. And then if there's any particular like look that you like for SHINee, like if one of their Japanese comebacks is one of your favorite eras for them, or you love the way your bias looked in it, then go ahead and get the single, but you're going to get all the music if you get these 3. So that should make your Japanese collection a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot cheaper than the route that I went. But yeah, that's all of my advice for collecting SHINee. SHINee is the group that I adore. It is the group that my channel is named after. It is the group that I wish I could name a child after. I love SHINee so much. And for me, it was really hard to do this video without making it a half an hour and telling you to buy 15 albums. I think I got it narrowed down to about 12 here. I don't know. I can't count. I'm confused. But yeah, I got it narrowed down enough where I think that I gave you a reasonable selection to go with. But if you have any other questions, or if you would like some advice on anything else in particular, let me know. If you're talking about sources to get music, I will always and forever recommend Amazon.com. It is my absolute favorite place to buy a lot of stuff. The prices are really fair. The shipping is always the same, so you know what to expect when it comes to your final prices. But yeah, Amazon, I definitely recommend. But probably the next website I would recommend if I wasn't doing Amazon would probably for the Korean stuff. It would be K-Town for You, even though I've had numerous shipping problems with them. Like, it is unreal the amount of problems I've had with K-Town for You. I've come to realize it's just because they hate me in particular, not because they would be rude to you. So yeah, go ahead and try your luck with K-Town for You. Their prices are really reasonable, but I go for Amazon. I really love Amazon, especially because there's one particular seller on Amazon, Import CDs. They're here in the United States. If you order anything from them and something happens and you haven't opened the CD, you can always send it back to them for a full refund, which you can't really do that in a reasonable way with some of the Korean sellers, because you're having to pay for shipping to send it back. Whereas if you're getting it through Amazon, Amazon covers the cost of shipping for returns. So it's a lot easier transaction. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. You guys stay safe out there. Here in the United States, the weather is kind of crappy in a lot of places. So if you're out on the roads, be careful. In other countries, I hear that pollen's really high in a lot of places right now. So, you know, stay with your allergy tabs. And for those of you in school, I think that spring breaks are coming up soon. You know, keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep in those books. I know that is starting to get to a kind of restless period for you, but just hold on. It's almost over. You'll be all right. Hang in there. I'll talk with you later, guys. Bye.